much are you looking forward to getting started properly tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it a lot. Well, I think we're all excited to get going. I think every football player, every manager, every coach, you work so hard for 5 or 6 weeks, 5 in our case, to get to this point. And then, you can't control anything else now, really. It's up to the guys to step over the white line and put into practice what they have done. They've been brilliant. So how do I assess the pre-season, the preparations? They've probably gone as well as we could have hoped, especially with all the noise surrounding a lot of the players and all that stuff. So they've coped with it really, really well, and it's been got so much respect and gratitude for the players in what they've given us over the last 5 weeks. So I'm really pleased with that. The rest is now, as I said, is putting everything into practice with a different feel in a full house at Sheffield Wednesday on Sky, the first game of the season, all that stuff. So our job now is to pass on as much courage and conviction to the players we possibly can, and then hopefully, we'll see where we're at.
You obviously mentioned the noise around the club, the transfer speculation. It's difficult to sort of get away from that. How difficult has that been with certain players being linked away? How's that affected your preparations?
Well, I think the team's probably changed twice since the start of this week. It might change again between now and tomorrow, so it probably gives you an indication of that. But it is what it is, I think. I think it's a sign that the club's done very, very well in terms of the profile of player they've recruited over the last 18 months to 2 years, and that we have so many assets. I think the players have dealt with it really, really well. So I think we have to put out a team on tomorrow night that is able to be fully present and all in on what we're trying to do. And I hope that between now and tomorrow none of that changes. So, but I think the players have been great at it, because you have agents, you have media, you have social media, and you have so much now, so much to contend with and deal with. And a lot of the people that have gathered interest from other clubs are very, very young. So it's really not easy to deal with all of that. So I think we've just been honest all the way through. They've been really honest. Jason has obviously been really honest with the players. We have a lot of conversation between us and then with the players themselves to let them know what the full picture is. I think sometimes they don't get given the full picture, but I think here everyone's been really transparent and really honest about everything. So I think that helps. And for us, is like you plan and prepare for the best 2 hours of the day, which is for us as coaches out on the grass. So whilst we're on the grass and we're training, all we've ever asked for is they give us everything. We'll give them everything, and so far that's been the case. So as long as that continues, whatever happens in the next 4 weeks, I think we just got to be prepared for and ready for, and we will be, and the rest will take care of itself.
One of those young players is Romeo, Labia and James Ward-Prowse, 2 players that have been linked away from the club. Do you think they will be at Southampton when the window shuts, and will either of them be involved tomorrow night?
Both will be involved tomorrow night, as it stands. I don't know what will change between now and then. Do I think they'll be Southampton players by the end of the window? I have not got a clue. So what I hope, what I think, probably very different, but it'd be pointless for me to come out and say I think they'll be here, I don't think they'll be here, because ultimately I have no control over that, really. Jason and the ownership group, we speak about it a lot, but I think if they're both not here at some point, or one of them's not here, it's because the club and the player has something that everyone feels is beneficial for everyone. So that'll be the case, I think. So I think that's why it's probably dragged on so long so far, and it might continue to drag on. But both of them, whilst they've been here, very different stages of their career, but both of them have been great. So they'll both be involved tomorrow night.
Excellent.
As it stands.
So your assessment then of the opponent you've got tomorrow night, Sheffield Wednesday, that's a really tricky place to go as well, with a home crowd behind them, newly promoted. It's a tough match, right? Yeah,
I'm well aware of that, yeah. So having played there a few times myself, and on the back of the success they had last season, a new manager as well, which I think surprised a few people, including myself, after what Darren did for them last year. Huge amount of respect for Darren as a person and as a manager, so probably expected him to be in charge for that, but it's not to be. So a manager with real success in this division last time he was in it. They're trying to do some different stuff to what they were doing last year, with a lot of similar personnel. So it'll be really interesting. I think pre-season can be very false at times, can be very different. So our job is to prepare the players for what we think is going to come in a packed Hillsborough on a Friday night on TV, because it might look very different to what their pre-season games looked. So our job is to prepare the players for that. It's a really exciting game to be involved in. The players have to get used to now a different mentality for the teams facing them, for sure, because as a relegated team from the Premier League, you have a target on your back, and people are desperate to prove that they can beat you, and that you're no longer in the Premier League and all that stuff. So I've been there as a player myself. So that is a different challenge for the players. There's a different mentality, and the way we're asking them to play is very, very different. So I'm really excited about it. Any game that we'd have started with would have been exciting and a challenge. This one, because of the promotion they had last year, the stadium, the atmosphere they can generate, as you saw in their playoff game, played a huge part in them overcoming Peterborough 4-0 deficit. I'm not sure that would have happened at many places. So it's our job to go there and make sure that we don't allow them to gain momentum with the atmosphere and with the performance, and try and turn it into a game that's about us rather than them, really.
And just in terms of players and players coming into the club potentially, are there areas that you're looking at in particular at the moment? Any deals that you maybe think are quite close, and which positions in particular might you be looking at?
I think it all depends on who leaves the club, to be honest. We have 28 players, so we have a travelling squad of 21 or 22 today, or whatever it is. We have 6 players training this morning that won't be in the squad. So we'll be delivering 2 sessions on the pitch today, because the size of the squad that we have. So to add to that at the minute, with that many players in the building already, I'm not sure that's a brilliant idea for us or for the players. It might be a little bit counterproductive. So I think it's a case of seeing who goes, in what positions. I think we've got targets in pretty much every position, trying to be prepared for what's to come, and then we'll deal with it as and when. But yeah, I think we're really clear on the profile of player we want in the club, the character of the player we want at the club, and then obviously there's the technical and tactical capabilities of the player. But yeah, I think they've got to add to us in every department and make us better, rather than just add into the squad, for sure.
And just finally from me, the Championship, as you know, is fiercely competitive from your time managing Swansea as well. What do you expect from this season, and in terms of challenges? And you're looking, I suppose, to get Southampton promoted. First time of asking if you can, but which sides do you see as the big rivals to Southampton maybe for promotion this year?
I've not got a clue. So it's the beauty of the Championship, right? Is why people are interested in it. It's going to be interesting. There's always a team or two that surprise everyone, and it's really never easy. So I think we're really aware of that. I think the players will become aware of that, and we'll make them aware of that. So I think it's an exciting. It's as strong as it has been for a long time. I think the Championship, because of the size of the clubs coming down from the Premier League, the amount of teams that are still in there and that have been in the Premier League very recently that would really fancy their chances. So I think it's really exciting. There's so many different challenges tactically, different styles, different managers and different way of doing things. That's really exciting for us and really interesting for us, and we've built up a little bit of knowledge of that over the last 2 years. So hopefully that will help us, and we'll try and make sure that it helps us. But yeah, I'm just excited about it. Not going to come out here and make any bold predictions. We're going to try and do what we're going to do, which is to get back to the Premier League as quickly as we possibly can. But outside of that, I have no expectation of anyone or anything else, because it's ultimately it's pointless wasting any energy thinking about that. So we'll see. We'll see how the league looks, how we look after 5 games, 10 games, Christmas, all that stuff, and we'll just take every game as it comes. Really, it's the oldest cliche in football, but it's the oldest for a reason, because I think it's the most, especially in the Championship. If you look too far ahead with the relentless nature of it, then you're not really prepared, and it catches you out a little bit. So tomorrow night is the first hurdle to overcome, and we will try and overcome it in our way and enjoy it, and hopefully that will roll us on and build some momentum moving forward.
Thanks, Russell.
Nice.
Russell, what's the situation with the players you talked about Saturday night you were hoping might be fit even for a squad place, like Stuart Armstrong, Joe Rebo, Jan Bednarek particularly? What's the situation
Yeah,
there?
they're all fit. So I think Seku's the only one we have a question mark over at the moment. So we'll see how he is on the grass this morning. But yeah, Stewie's back, Joe Rebo's back, Jan Bednarek is back. So yeah, really positive for us, right? 3 really good players, and really good characters that will help us for sure.
Camaldine linked with a move. Is he fit or is he available? You talked about...
Yeah, who's not been linked with a move?
Well, you talked about the strongest team you could play still,
yeah.
despite rumours, and then you also said you need players who are 100% focused. Is that the balance?
Camaldine's injured, genuinely,
Right,
so it's not like he's not mentally... Like, he's good, he's been smiling, he has good energy. I really like him from what I've seen. I've not seen him on the training pitch very much, unfortunately. He went away with Ghana in the summer, played a bit of football, so came back a little bit later. And he's picked up a small injury. It's not a major one, but it's also been madness to rush him back for the first game and compromise anything else. So, Camaldine's one of a number of players that have been linked with moves away, but he's also one of a number of players that have been really good and not distracted, or we've had a couple of really good honest chats. And as I said, I really like him. A young man with huge potential. Hopefully he'll be involved very soon. And if he's not, I presume it's probably because it means he's either not here or he's still injured. So I don't think it would be to do with anything else. But he's probably a week or two behind the others in terms of what his injury is. So hopefully we'll get him back very soon.
You already clear about your 11, or have you got some, final decisions to make? You've got competition at fullback, for instance, and centre back.
Yeah, I thought I was clear, but it's clear as mud now with everything going on. But I think so. I think we have we're really excited about the group. And in a couple of positions, it's a really close call, and you could probably play either or. But there's guys who've had more minutes. There's guys who are in a better condition to play the first game. I think the team's going to look very different Friday night as it is to Tuesday night, and then in a couple of weeks' time, it will probably look different again. So, but I think we need a group of players in every position, and a few players that are really flexible in terms of position, that can be ready to play at any point. And I think we're really comfortable with that. So the team we put out, we'll be really happy with, and really comfortable with, as we will be on the bench. And then it's our job to make sure when the transfer window closes or whatever, we look even stronger than what we do now.
What about Wednesday then, as a team, to actually take them on? They've got focal point like Michael Smith, and then you've got the skills of Bannon and Windass and different things. How do you see them as a team to actually challenge it?
Well, I think they're a team with good spirit and good togetherness. I think they showed that last season, and they've kept the majority of the squad together, which I think is really important. I think teams make a mistake, often make a mistake, that when they get promoted, they make wholesale changes really quickly and do it and go too quickly. So I know a few of them. I play with Josh, I play with Barry, so I know what they're like character and talent-wise, and they have a lot. It's our job to make whoever we play against, to make the players aware of the threat we're facing and the quality of the opposition we're facing, but also make them aware of how we can impose ourselves on the game and try and hurt them and carry our own threat. It's going to be the most important thing. So the focus is very much on us, and with an awareness of what Wednesday offer and what they bring. And the biggest part of that will be the connection they have with their supporters and the atmosphere they've generated there after a promotion, all that stuff, and the feel-good factor. New manager as well, they'll be desperate to impress. So all of that, in terms of mentality and psychologically, to be ready, the players need to be really ready. The rest will take care of itself. Just
finally from me, how do you feel? You've got this month with the uncertainty, but you've got the first month, then you've got the international break. Are you like, right, this 4 weeks, and then that? How do you feel about the start of the season, what you want from it and so on?
Well, what I want from it is as many points as possible, but I also want the team to look a certain way to show people, there's some there's things to really look forward to, and there's things to be excited about, and the team will keep growing. So in the next 4 weeks, I want the team to grow. I want it to look different to how it does tomorrow night by the end of August, by the first international break, by the end of the transfer window, all that stuff. But it's really like, honestly, it's the football is the easy part. When we're at work, you're all in. We're just constantly talking about football, the players, the conversation. The hardest part is everything around it. Living in a hotel, your family not with you. So in the next 4 weeks, I hope we can all get really settled as well, and everything else around that makes the work even easier. So the football will be what it'll be. We'll enjoy it the next 4 weeks, I hope. No, we will. And then we'll assess where we're at and crack on from there.
Thank you, Russell.
No worries.
10:30 embargoed section, actually.
Thanks, Harris. So you've had 5 weeks of work, but there has been, as you mentioned, a load of changes, a lot of things for you to learn and for the players to learn as well. Has this season opener come round really quickly for you? Does it feel like that, or are you a good way along the process?
It feels like we're We've been here a lot longer, so I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I look a lot more tired than I did 5 weeks ago. I haven't even had time for a haircut yet, but I think I didn't know where we'd be, is the truth. How can you know when you come into a new club and it's very different? And so I had no real expectation of where we were going to be. We knew we were going to throw everything at them and then see what they liked, what they didn't like, what we felt worked. But everything we've hit them with so far, they've just they've soaked up, they've taken on board some things they've had to ask a lot of questions about and understand why, and that's been brilliant, really brilliant part of the process. It's so enjoyable that. But where they're at, I'm really impressed with them, the way they've taken things on, their understanding, and they'll only build more understanding and more connection with each other on the pitch and more connection with what we're doing and why we're doing it. And I want them to enjoy it, and I hope they're enjoying it. I think they are. They're smiling a lot more now than they did 5 weeks ago. There's a lot more noise. There's a lot more character coming through and personality coming through, which is really nice. So I don't want them just to be robots and not enjoy any part of the journey, really. So, which football can often, find a way of doing to you as a player. So yeah, I want them to really enjoy what they're doing. I want them to understand why. I want them to enjoy working together and feeling connected with the purpose of the team and what we're going to build and what we're going to do. And you can't get all of that in 5 weeks, right? But you can certainly establish certain foundations for performance and certain values and key things that are going to be really important to us throughout the season, regardless of the situation we're in. So I think hopefully they've seen enough of that in the first 5 weeks, or they felt enough of it. That's the most important bit, is how they feel, to understand that we have something, exciting that we can build on.
We know that tomorrow night will be an unbelievable atmosphere. There'll be up to 3,000 Southampton fans in front of the Sky cameras. There could be that added element of pressure that you haven't had as a collective group just yet. But at the same time, a lot of these players have played Premier League games, massive stadiums. Are you expecting them to be able to put out the messages that you get across and not be blinded by the headlines? So.
I'm hoping, yeah. I don't have any expectation, because I've never seen the players in this situation, and they've never been asked to play the way they're going to play. So, and many of them have never been in the Championship trying to achieve what we're going to set out to achieve. So the hope is that we prepared them for that. We feel we've done everything we can to prepare them for that, and we will learn loads about the players on Friday night, next week at Norwich at home. We're going to learn so much in the next few weeks about each other, and it's going to be brilliant. And it will help make even clearer what we need to do and work on the training pitch, the type of person we maybe need to get into the building. All of that will become much clearer in the next few weeks. So I hope that they have the courage required to play the way we play Friday night live on Sky, because if they do, and they show us what they've shown on the training pitch and in some of the pre-season games, then I'm going to really enjoy that, whatever the outcome. If we don't, then we know we have a lot of work to do. And there'll be moments where it's really difficult for the players, and we just have to come through that and have to stick to what we want from them, and have to stick to being brave and stick to being themselves. And I genuinely believe the rest will take care of itself if they do that. So that's the biggest challenge now, is them and the courage it takes to play, the intensity it takes to play this way, and doing that away from home with a good atmosphere. Will be a brilliant test. So we'll see, and the amount of fans we have going up, and the amount of season ticket sales and all that stuff, if anything, it's just made us more excited about the season, rather than added any pressure or whatever you want to talk about. I think it's just made me and the coaching staff, for sure, just more excited about how everyone's feeling about the season and what we can go on and do.
You mentioned you have to tell 5 or 6 players a week that they're not going to be involved. You said the team will look slightly different on Tuesday. Have you had conversations already with those that they're probably playing the cup on Tuesday rather than this weekend?
Well, I think we have a lot of players who are not physically ready to play 90 minutes yet for one reason or the other. Internationals in the summer come back, picked up little knocks, so some of them are really self-explanatory and you don't have to go into too much detail. Some of them will be really disappointed about not playing tomorrow night, but I think they know there's going to be opportunity very quickly, and we're going to need everyone. So, yeah, we have a lot of conversation with players. I think it's some of them are probably less comfortable with that than the others, but I think they're getting used to it. And especially when for some of them it's very different to what they've been used to in football. But it's how we choose to do it. and we try and involve them as much as we can as part of the process and understand why we make the decisions we do. And hopefully they respect that, even if they don't like it. Hopefully they respect it.
I want to ask about Armel Belakocha, if I may. He hasn't really featured during pre-season at all. I know
Yeah,
he
he's
had
been
a couple of
injured,
injuries,
yeah.
So could you just explain what that injury is and how
Well,
he's
he's trained for the last 5 days,
Yeah.
and he's been great. I mean, Armel just excites you just by looking at him because of sheer size and physicality, right? So, I mean in a football sense. So, like, when you look at him, he's an imposing guy. Shook his hand the first day, and like he's huge, and he possesses like unbelievable athleticism and physicality. I think he's had a really tough time of it. So he's come here, he's got injured. And a long summer when you're injured and seeing everyone, and especially the young guys on their social media, and it's everyone here, there and everywhere. Most of them probably went to Dubai, unfortunately, but they probably did. And he probably sees that on his social media and all that stuff. And yeah, it's difficult when you're here working with the physios every day. So it's been a tough period for him, and then a bit of noise around him as well and his future and all that stuff. A young man, but he's been. I've been really pleased with him. The way he's trained this week, he's been amazing. So he's a long way off playing. But as a first step to coming back on the grass, and the rehab guys have done a really good job with him to get him in a good condition. And he's trained so hard this week, really, really hard, and we've worked him a lot within the parameters of what he can do, of course. So there's certain stuff he still can't quite fully do, but slowly he'll reintegrate properly with the group. And if he's here, I'll really look forward to working with him. We'll be excited with that because I think we can definitely help him and he can help us. But it's in his own interest and our interest to get him as fit as we can, as quickly as we can, and then see what happens from there. It's the same with a few of the players. But he's been injured. He's back. Well, he's slowly coming back. He will not be anywhere near ready for Tuesday. He will not be anywhere near ready for Norwich. So I don't think people can expect him in the squad anytime soon. But that's purely because of where he's at in his rehab and for no other reason.
I suppose just add on that you've lost a couple of defenders this week already. If you were to keep every defender that you had, is that enough? You don't need to add unless you lose some.
Trying to think of the defenders we've got. It's been a busy week. Yeah, I think we had 6 centre halves when we came into the club, so we're never going to play a back 6. We don't need them all. So, although don't quote me on that, there might become a time in the season we need to. But yeah, I think it's obviously probably a bit. It's 1 or 2 too many. So we'll have to wait and see now. If someone goes out, we'll need to replace them. As it stands, we have 4. One of them's not fit yet. But I think 4's a good number for most clubs, and then hopefully you have 1 or 2 exciting youngsters around that. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see again. If someone ends up going, we'll probably look to replace them. Otherwise, we are where we are currently.